So today in Stadia news, we have a new announced game from Square Enix, as well as pre-orders ready to go on that, and another remastered collection is headed our way. We also have new awesome codes from Marty, Stratton of id Software, talking how Stadia is part of gaming's future, and I'm excited to talk about that. Finally, we have a release date for one of my most personally anticipated games soon in Disco Elysium, and finally, we have a lot of updates on a lot of games that we're going to rapid fire in this video, like Doom Eternal, Dragon Ball Xenoverse, as well as some more release dates for lesser known titles on Stadia. If you haven't already, subscribe for Stadia and cloud gaming content and news, as I do strive to keep you guys up to date on a daily basis. Please go ahead and hit that red button down below. So we have to start this video with the surprise of the week, which is Life is Strange True Colors is set to arrive on Stadia on September 10th, and the game's already up for pre-orders on the Stadia store. It's a new title to the series. Now, the base game comes with some outfits and comes in at $59.99, and the deluxe edition, which is $10 more, is going to include a bonus story. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the series, guys, it's a pretty fantastic one in Life is Strange. This is a game that released back in 2015 with critical acclaim and hundreds of thousands of positive user reviews. It's also coming to Stadia as well with the remastered collection. This will be available fall 2021, so you guys are going to experience both stories. As for the series and what it's about, they are narrative-based games that take you on a pretty wild ride. But True Colors will feature Alex Check, who hides her ability to absorb the emotions of others. When her brother ends up dying in an accident, she will embrace her power to find the truth. Now, guys, if we are to have an indication on what to expect from this new game compared to the previous iteration, I honestly think we are in for a treat with this game. I do love some good story-based games, and while you don't see them as much as we did years ago, this new one will be a good one to dive into, including that remastered edition that I actually never got to finish myself. Looks like now I'm going to get that chance with Stadia. I am expecting very high-quality storytelling here with True Colors. This is really good stuff, and I'm really glad to see that Square Enix continues to support Stadia and having all their games on the platform, so kudos goes to them for sure. So I wanted to highlight an interview that came out recently from Marty Stratton from id Software, the executive producer of Doom Eternal, and he was asked about Stadia, and he goes, and I quote, "As for Stadia, I am convinced that we are only scratching the surface of the future of video games. For me, streaming will be a fundamental method of distributing titles in the coming years. New technologies. It always takes some time before they can be fully established, but there is nothing in what Stadia or xCloud are doing that will prevent them from becoming a concrete reality sooner or later. If you pass me the comparison, it's a bit like self-driving cars. It is clear that they are still not something for everyone, nor can it be said that they work perfectly, but if you stop to think about the future, they will certainly be there. Autonomous driving cars, or in any case, it is more likely that there is this type of machine than the fact that there is not. Here, if we refer to streaming in video games, I think the same way. It's just about maturing technology." Then finally he said, "And I'm sorry for people who worked at Stadia who lost their jobs, but I'm glad that Google chose to keep the platform up and running. We were really happy to be working with the Stadia team, and I believe Doom is a great example of the potential of that technology." Now, the reason that I wanted to highlight this interview to you guys, because if you guys follow me on my live streams every single Saturday, I always talk about how cloud gaming is always going to be part of gaming's future. Guys, it's literally inevitable. And no matter how much people want to deny it, and I'm talking about those people who love their physical consoles and their PCs, the mere fact that you can stream high quality games like Doom Eternal and it feel really close to native hardware, personally, I can never tell the difference. And then you're doing it through your phones, tablets, streaming to your TVs without hardware. The technology is just too good not to be part of the future, especially as internet continues to improve with things like 5G. So I wanted to highlight this. Well said by Marty, and I'm glad to see the continued support for cloud gaming. We have a couple of release dates for some games, starting with Darkside Detective: A Fumble in the Dark. This is a Stadia Makers game, and it is set to come to a stacked month on April 15th. The first game in the series, Darkside Detective, was announced to be a pro game some time ago. Maybe this upcoming April we're going to see that one, considering this new game in the series is just coming next month, but nothing has been confirmed just yet, so we'll hold off on that announcement. Nanotales Typing Chronicles is set to arrive on Stadia March 31st, and this is the sequel to the Epistory story game, which I admit, guys, I still haven't had a chance to dive into. Now, the reaction I was seeing from the Stadia community who did dive into Epistory really enjoyed the game, so I expect to hear some good stuff from Nanotales as well. With that, the biggest indie game that I've been waiting for this year, and I'll be shocked if anything tops it in regards to indies and hype on a personal level, that is Disco Elysium. Final cut is coming Tuesday, March 30th. For me, guys, this is just pretty hype. The game has won it's won a crap ton of awards, sold a crap ton of copies, and it's one of the highest rated indie games of all time. I'm really excited for this one, and it gives me just a few days to play it before all those major AAA titles come out in April. But either way, I'm going to dive heavily into this one. So glad to see a release date finally for this one on March 30th. So a new game has been rated called The Last Kids on Earth and the Staff of Doom by Outright Games, and here you'll be joining Jack on an epic post-apocalyptic quest to save the world from zombie hordes and slime monsters. Now, this game again is from Outright Games, the makers of a ton of kid titles, and as you can tell from the trailer, it continues to aim at that audience. This is looking like we're getting a ton of games from Outright, and this is a great thing if you have little ones, if you've wanted more kid titles, period. Outside of that, I don't know much more about the game other than it is a completely new game and not released anywhere else. Hopefully we do get to see this title come day and date alongside other platforms, and I'm really glad that Stadia has been able to get Outright Games onto the platform. This is going to be a really good thing, like I said, especially if you have little ones. Finally, we have some updates on some games. Of course, the Hawkeye operation is now live for Marvel Avengers on Stadia, though I did hear it was only about 3 hours long. Let me know if you guys can confirm that in the comments. The Ancient Gods Part 2, the epic conclusion to the Doomslayer saga, and the second campaign expansion is also live and ready to be played. If you don't own it, you can pick it up on the Stadia store for $19.99. Finally, Dragon Ball Xenoverse apparently, guys, launched crowd play and crowd choice on Stadia. I'm not sure why this wasn't publicized by Stadia themselves, and if anybody is watching this video from over there, please make an announcement for this stuff, as I think quite a few creators would love to dive into this one and use these Stadia features while streaming. This is really good stuff, and I love seeing this, and glad to see that older games on Stadia are getting Stadia specific features and updates. Lastly, I wanted to highlight Super Bomberman R is getting a universal release on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and the Xbox Series X, as well as Nintendo, Steam, and the cool part is that it's going to have crossplay with all these platforms. So if you're a fan of this game on Stadia, you're hoping to have that full 64-player lobbies, you'll soon get that opportunity on September 1st, 2021. With that, guys, let me know your thoughts on Stadia news today. id Software's comments about Stadia's future, Life is Strange Remastered Collection, and True Colors. Finally, all the updates for games as well as those new release dates. Subscribe, guys, by hitting that red button down below. Like the video and hit that bell as well to be notified of my daily content. I'm Sunny, and as always, I'll see you guys in the clouds.